Hey, what's up, you guys? This is Ninjaxtx, and welcome to the 49th video in my fifth round of philosophy videos. Let's talk about why the black community is less than trustworthy of the law enforcement community. Be that cops, sheriff's department, local, state, federal, you name it. We don't trust it. A lot of us don't trust it. And if those of us do trust it, we get ostracized. We get told that we are serving the man. Um, this goes back to, and I'm doing this again. And before I begin this, let me say, this video is another parental guidance suggested. Now, instead of telling your kids they can't watch the video, after this video is done, do the research. After this video is done, have the talk with your daughter, your son, your niece, your nephew, your grandson, your granddaughter. Just have the talk. Okay. Now, our distrust of the law enforcement community goes all the way back to slavery. Because if you look at it, the slave catchers were police officers. Because there were no laws designed to protect a freed slave. You could be free in one state and then go to another and be recaptured and sent back to your owner. Law enforcement was doing that. So if you were free in one state, you could be thrown back into bondage in another. If you were caught and you tried to fight legally, there were all sorts of laws that were put on the books to have you thrown back in jail or have you killed, and the police will cover it up. And here we go with the police cover-up thing. Okay. Fast forward to the civil rights movement. Many of the Klan were law enforcement. So they could do whatever they wanted to, and they knew the legal ways to get out of it. Oh, we'd still report it to the police, but they would cover it up because they didn't want their buddies getting in trouble. Now, fast forward to 1960, I believe it was 1965, 1966, somewhere around there. We began to realize the way to change the system was to get in the system. So, and I'm not even gonna say it was 1965. I'm gonna just say when African Americans were admitted to the police academies, the, the and whatnot, we were spit upon. We were told that we were spit upon by the Caucasians. Um, the Caucasian law enforcement officers. We were told by the civil rights community that we were turncoats in serving the man. Um, Although a lot of us fought to be on the police forces of America. Um, Now, I know a lot in Atlanta. I know there were incidents where the the white officers would refuse to dress out with the black officers just because they were the N word. Um, and a lot of crimes, if the black community reported them, would go uninvestigated because they saw us as less than human. If it was investigated and found that a white person did it or a Caucasian person did it, it was often covered up and swept under the rug. If, however, if a Caucasian person said that a African American person did something, the book would be thrown at that person. The book would be thrown at that person. They would get the maximum penalty of the law if they even got to the police station, because a lot of law enforcement officers, like I said, were part of the KKK. And if you were put in the back of a police car, you were often beaten before you got to the station, or beaten while you were at the station. There was a time that if you were accused of a crime and you were African American, you couldn't see your lawyer for a week or two. Why? Because your head would be caved in. Now, going to the federal level, you had laws that were not being enforced. Um, you had a federal government that spied on leaders of the um, civil rights movement, tried to discredit members of the law, um, um, members of the civil rights community, tried to um, infiltrate the civil rights movement and destroy it. Um, Look, and if you doubt what I'm saying, look up the program COINTELPRO. As a matter of fact, let's go even further into the. No, I think I'm gonna save this part for my next video, but. And today, you have cases like Rodney King, um, Freddie Gray, Freddie Gray, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Sandra Bland, um, and it just goes on and on and on. So if the black community says something, we get no response, or we get the response of we're lying, or violence is sanctioned against us. Violence is sanctioned against people of color, not just blacks. You got Asians, you got because of the establishment. But if we want to change the establishment, we have to work within it to change it without. Um, anyway, have this discussion with your kids and talk about the disparities of the justice system. Don't just say, well, this is something that's been made up for decades. No, look it up. Do the research. Don't just leave it to me to talk about it. But I hope this video gives you the wherewithal to try to work to make a change. Not just to poo-poo it and say, well, it'll get better. The only way it'll get better is if we have the courage to work at it and stand up and say, no, this will not go. I'm gonna give you a prime example. I was having a conversation with one of my friends about a year ago now, and we were having just a normal conversation like we usually have, and it got to an ugly point. But the gist of this conversation was we were joking around and saying I was gonna do something to him, he was gonna do something to me. Okay. Then it got real, because he said if he did something to me, he could get away with it. But if I did something to him, I'd end up in chains. And the conversation got real at that point. And the joking stopped and we talked about it. And the fact of the matter is, yeah, if a Caucasian does something to a person of color, it's often swept under the rug. They're given a I don't want to say get out of jail free card, but I'm gonna give you a prime example. Look at the Karen that called police on a bird watcher, a black bird watcher that was just telling her to leash her dog. If you look at that video, her whole demeanor changed when she was talking to the police. She changed her voice. She made it sound like she was being threatened. Now, what if the police had come with guns drawn and, you know, arrested this man, shot this man, um, whatnot, and or beat this man because of what the lady had said. Now, recently, and I think it's been in the last week or so, the DA and the judge dropped the charges against her. Why? Because she completed a racial sensitivity class. Really? No, that was not enough. Because she went on the news and boo-hooed about it and said, I'm sorry. No, that's not enough. Look up some of these cases, people. It's not enough. We as a people, as a nation, have to do better. We just no. Just we have to do better. I've always said this. Once we know better, we do better. Well, we know better now, but when are we going to start doing better? I just don't understand. And I hope by me doing these videos, it can open the dialogue with your families. It can maybe start a dialogue with someone of a different race, and you come together and start to talk and start to see what the divide is in your own personal life and do what you can to heal it. It's not going to heal overnight. It's going to take a lot of hard discussions, a lot of tough work, but we can get there as one family. I hope this touched someone's heart. I hope this made someone think about how they may be living life. Please take care of yourselves and each other. One world, one love. If you guys have any questions, comments, requests, etc., please send them to my YouTube account, or if you know how to get in touch with me, on my personal Twitter, my Instagram, my Facebook, or any other form of my social media, please feel free to do so there. Thank you guys for watching. God bless. I will see you guys tomorrow for our next Chair Banner Screamers series or video session. Thank you guys for watching. God bless. Bye-bye for now.